up, Doc? What's cooking? What's up, Doc? Oh, you're looking for Bugs Bunny bunting. Duck is gonna hunting just to get a rabbit skin, but now the rabbit's gonna get. What's up, Doc? What's cooking? Hey, look out! Stop! You're gonna hurt someone with that old shotgun. Hey, what's up, Doc? We really mean it. What's up, Doc?
Hello, friends. Are you ready?
What's for dinner? I'm hungry.
Yum, 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 yum.
Delicious.
Let's go, everybody. Yay! Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Zoe's Blind Kitchen Corner. If I look familiar to you in the sense of the clothes I'm wearing, the way my hair is tied, and so on and so forth, it's because today's episode, I'm actually taping it on the same day as I taped the previous episode with the meatballs. As I said in the previous episode, we're 3 days away from Easter, Pascha, so I'm making quite a few things in preparation. Whether I'm feeding 5 or 55, I've said this before, I'm going to make a feast because it's the feast of feasts, the festivals of festivals. I'm going to make a lot of food. And I really wanted to show you guys this because I think a lot of people who are familiar with Greek fast food, they are familiar with tzatziki. Tzatziki, for those of you who don't know, is a yogurt garlic dip that is put in sandwiches with souvlaki or gyro. And if you don't know what gyro is, in the US they pronounce it gyro, or at least in New York they do. So if anybody used to watch, if anybody's my age and used to watch Seinfeld, they had an episode on gyro, as they called it. But that's not the real pronunciation. It's pronounced gyro, so with a Y. So I would say Y-E-E-R-O, gyro. So you can get tzatziki on your gyro, you can get it on your souvlaki. In Greece, it's served throughout, and you serve it as a side where you can dip your meat, any type of meat, lamb, sausages, pork, whatever. Some people put it on bread and eat it. Some people actually have adopted it for North America, and they eat it with chips. I've even seen a pasta salad that uses tzatziki as its sauce. So anyhow, I'm going to make tzatziki, and I'm also going to make another dip, which again is served on sandwiches or as a side dip for meat, even on bread again, or pita bread. Nice triangles of nice grilled pita bread where you can dip into your tzatziki or into your tirokafteri. Try saying that. Let's go together. Tirokafteri. That the actual translation of that is hot cheese. It's actually the other way around. It's cheese hot, but it wouldn't make sense in English. So basically, it's a very nice, easy recipe, and both these recipes that I'm going to do for you guys today, the ingredients aren't exact. So I'm going to tell you the tzatziki first. The tzatziki, you want at least, a kilogram of strained yogurt. Please, people, take my advice and listen to me on something. No matter what yogurt you see in the supermarket, and it's labeled Greek style yogurt, it's nowhere near as thick as it should be for tzatziki. It's not strained yogurt. In Greece, strained yogurt, which is called stragisto yaourti, it's thick. You can cut it with a knife, so to speak. We don't have that here. So we need to take an extra step to get that nice texture. So I'm going to tell you, I'm going to show you guys how to strain yogurt and so on and so forth. But we're going to say a kilogram of yogurt, definitely 1 cucumber, olive oil, and I will tell you how you're going to determine how much olive oil. You need apple cider vinegar. Again, I will tell you how much. Salt and pepper. The reason I'm telling you, I'll tell you how much, is because you really go by taste. I think that the apple cider vinegar is approximately a teaspoon, definitely maybe 1 teaspoon and a quarter. I don't think it's more than that. You have to go by taste to actually get that tzatziki taste. So, and salt and pepper, of course, is to taste. Again, I wouldn't overdo it because you want to taste the garlic and, of course, the yogurt and the olive oil. You want everything to blend together. And garlic. Now, garlic, some people like it hot. Some people like it medium. Some people don't like it very hot at all. Tzatziki should have a kick to it. If you can't taste a little bit of the heat of the garlic, it's not tzatziki. It's just yogurt with cucumbers in it. That's not good. That's not what we want. Tzatziki has a kick to it. There should be a little bit of heat to it. If you don't like a lot of heat, that's fine. Put less garlic. A nice rule of thumb that I've used in my life is 1 clove of garlic per 100 grams of yogurt. So if you have a kilogram of yogurt, you would put 10 cloves of garlic. 10 cloves of garlic. If you put larger ones, it's going to be hotter. That's actually just my stove telling me that it's ready, because I've been preheating it, and I'll let you guys know why in a bit. So if you want it hotter, you put large cloves of garlic. If you want it less hot, you put small ones. You can always taste and you can add more. It's good to start with less and go as you go. However, well, anyways, when we get to that, we'll show you. I'm gonna start with the tzatziki, like I said. If you can afford it, invest in a Greek yogurt strainer. I got this from Amazon. It's a round plastic tupper, or feels like a tupper, a plastic container. If you remove the lid, inside it's got an insert. I've lifted up the insert. Now it's just, if I take this insert away, it's just a round, it's a clear, round, hard plastic container. The insert, when you put it in, it sits comfortably. It's made for this, right? It comes together. It leaves probably about half the bowl empty. So all the strained liquid from the yogurt is going to fall under the insert. And the insert itself feels like one of those cake pans with the, what are they called? Bump pans? Tube pans? Forgive me, I forget the name. But one of those cake pans where you have the long cone-shaped thing in the middle, that when you bake a cake in it, it's a nice round cake with a big hole in the middle. So it has one of those in the middle, and it has mesh, a very fine mesh all around. It's on the sides and it's on the bottom. If I put my hand and touch the bottom of the insert, I can feel the mesh. They feel like triangle pieces of mesh. So that's the best I can describe it. This wasn't very expensive. I actually don't remember. I've had it for a few years, maybe 2-3 years. I think it was, I could be lying, but I think maybe tops $20. So if you punch in to Amazon on the internet, Greek yogurt strainer, I'm sure it'll come up. Keep it in mind. Maybe you'll find it at some, very, some kitchen place or something. I haven't found it anywhere in Toronto. At the 2-3 kitchen places that I do shop, I haven't found it, but I did find it on Amazon. Now, if you don't have one of these, what you're going to do is you're going to take a strainer where we strain spaghetti, a nice big strainer. You're going to sit it on a smaller bowl that basically is going to cover, again, half your strainer. You want some space at the bottom so the container can catch the liquid. So you're gonna put a bowl, you're gonna put your strainer on top, you're gonna put cheesecloth into your strainer, and you're gonna pour your yogurt into the cheesecloth, and you can either just tie up the ends, tie up the ends as you would like a little package, and maybe put a string on it and you put it like that in the fridge. It's a little bit messier that way because you're dealing with cheesecloth and so on and so forth. This is a little bit easier. It's nicer, it's cleaner, and it's all in a Tupper with a lid. So if you don't have a lot of room in the fridge, you can actually put something on top of this container. You can set a bowl on top of it, doesn't matter. You're going to put your yogurt for 2 days into the fridge. You want to strain this for 2 days. So it's Thursday, 3 days before Easter. Easter's on Sunday. I'm going to actually make my tzatziki on Saturday, but I need to strain it for 48 hours. Some people strain a little longer. I find that the 48 hours is perfect. And, excuse me, once or twice a day, I think maybe twice a day is a little bit exaggerated, but once a day, you're going to open the container, you're going to pull the insert out with the yogurt, and you're going to spill out the liquid. And you're going to put the insert back in, and you're going to put the cap on and put it back in the fridge. So for 48 hours, you're going to have it in the fridge, and you're going to strain it a few times. You're going to empty out the liquid a few times. So now, for us to get a kilogram of yogurt, I buy Astro is the brand. It's called Bulcan style plain yogurt. It's a full fat yogurt, cow's milk yogurt. And so here's another thing. In Greece, sometimes they actually make tzatziki with the strained yogurt that's from goats and I don't know, maybe even sheep or a combination. But anyways, we're in Canada. I make it with cow's milk. It still tastes fantastic and it's the same and it's fantastic. I buy 4 containers. So again, we said Astro, original or plain Balkan style yogurt. If you can't find, now I buy organic. It doesn't have to be organic. It's up to you guys. Lost my train of thought there for a second. Sorry. Anyways, okay. So I buy 4 containers, which is probably about, I think it's about 750 ml each. So 7, 14, 21, 28. It's about 3,000 ml. That's a lot of yogurt. The reason I buy so much, and I'm going to show you guys right now, once you strain the yogurt, the weight of the yogurt is going to be half the size. So I want to get 2 kilograms of yogurt into my strainer. Because I know that if I put in about 200, 2,100, that's 2 kilograms and 100 grams, I'm going to for sure have 1 kilogram of yogurt to work with on Saturday when I actually make my tzatziki. So I forgot to grab a spoon, so I'm just going to grab a spoon. Remember I told you guys that as a blind person, you're going to use your hands a lot, your smell, your taste. Well, now you're going to see me use my hands, and it's going to get messy with yogurt. And I have a lot of things in my kitchen sink, and it's not because I'm lazy or messy, but I actually just finished taping the previous episode, which was the meatball episode, and I don't have a lot of time I will clean this up later. So, yeah, so I'm opening up the yogurt. I've opened it up, and I'm going to, I'm going to turn on my scale.
It's ready.
So now my scale is ready with the Greek yogurt strainer on it with the insert in the container. So I'm just going to hop over the bowl. I'm just going to squeeze. I'm going to squeeze the container a little so that as much can fall out as possible without me sticking a spoon or fingers in it or whatever. And nothing else. Okay, now it's in ounces. I don't want it in ounces, so I'm going to find my my second last button, change it to grams. So it's telling me 405 grams. So I need to scoop out the rest of it with a spoon. And I'm just scooping over and throwing it in.
574 grams.
Now, I'm sure there's more left in here, probably about a spoonful. It doesn't really matter. I'm just going to open up the next container. Somebody can just eat that yogurt like there's a spoonful left. Somebody can just eat it. So I'm going to open up the next container. And again, same thing. I'm going to hold it over and squeeze. I'm squeezing the container of yogurt and then letting it go. Squeezing and letting it go. Like you would a mustard bottle. And I'm just squeezing so as much can come out before I actually stick a spoon in there. Or my hands. And I do use my hands sometimes. And, okay. So we're more than halfway there, and I've used 2 containers. I'm actually gonna rest my spoon into my mixture with the yogurt, so my scale is actually gonna read something else out. Because now, oh, see here, the first container, I went to grab an unopened. Okay, scale, quiet. Okay, so I went to grab an unopened container, and I grabbed the first container, and I got yogurt all over my hands. So I might as well just put my hands in it and see if I can get some more out, which I can. 1,250 grams. And since my hand is all covered in yogurt, I'm just going to try it. I'm going to grab the other one as well. So now we've emptied out 2 containers. 1,269 grams. Now, as I was saying about the spoon, I've rested my spoon actually into my mixture. Just rinsing off the yogurt on my hands. I rested the spoon, so the weight is actually not the weight of the yogurt because it's also measuring my spoon. So I've lifted my spoon out, and it'll give me a different reading. So I'm going to grab the next container, which is the 3rd one. And this time I'm going to be smart and set my spoon on the cap of the yogurt. And I'm going to do the same thing as we did before. Squeeze over the thing. Squeeze like we're squeezing out ketchup or mustard. Let it all drop. And it's dropped as much as I'm just scooping out with the spoon. We're almost to the 2,000 mark. 765 grams. Let's put this down for a second. Now, I need to spread this around because I need to get as much. I'm just using the back of the spoon and I'm moving around the container with the yogurt. I'm just trying to even it out so I can fit some more in. And I'm going to grab my 4th, actually, see if I can get more out of this. Yes, I can. I'm just scooping with my hands again out whatever's left in the container. See, I almost got about 150 grams more out. 1,894 grams. 1,898 grams. So I've used, whoops. So I've used 3 containers. So I'm going to need a little bit of my 4th container. Now, at this point, because I'm only going to need a little bit, I'm not actually going to tip it over the container and squeeze like I did before with the ketchup. Now my hands are wet and I can't open this. Hold on. Oh. Alrighty. Now I'm actually going to use my spoon to get some more out. 1,849 grams. And I'm going to wait and listen. 1,991 grams. So I waited and listened, and it told me 1,991. I'm going to see if I can spread it around. Now I'm going to use my hands, guys. We're blind. We can't see. So I'm feeling to see if I can fit more yogurt in here. I'm not at the 2,000 mark, which is what I want. Can I fit? I could probably fit another a few more tablespoons.
1,992 grams.
So.
1,996 grams.
Okay, that's 1.
2,081 grams.
That's 2. I'm going to try to get it to the 2,100.
2,068 grams.
268.
2,110 grams.
Okay, we're at the 2,110. I'm using the back of my spoon to even it out. And I'm feeling with my finger to see if I'm gonna, I don't want it to overflow. So I'm just gonna feel, and it's fine. If I try to put more in, you know, when I put the cap on, it's gonna squirt all over the place. So I've got about 2,110 grams. I'm just gonna cap the yogurt. We'll put it aside. We'll give it a wipe, clean it because it's all full of yogurt on the outside from Zoe's hands. So I'm just gonna put it there. Yeah. So I'm gonna turn off the scale.
Goodbye.
Where's the cap? What did I do with the cap? I must have put it somewhere. And if the cameraman is nice, he'll tell me where I put it. And he's nice. He handed it to me. So I'm just going to cap this. I capped it lightly, just in case it starts squirting on me. And I got a little bit of yogurt on the kitchen counter, which I just felt. So I'm just capping it, and I felt a little bit of yogurt on my fingers. So now, I could have gotten the yogurt on the outside just while I was trying to pour. It doesn't matter. We're going to use our paper towels. We're going to wipe it up. What do I always say? It's not a big deal. So I'm just going to wipe up the yogurt from the outside. And we're going to wipe up the counter because we've made a mess. And we'll wipe it better in a few seconds. I just need to... Hi. So see, guys? This is cooking in Zoe's kitchen. There's nothing edited here. I could edit out my messes. I could edit out my mistakes. I don't want to. I want to show you guys that I'm not a chef. But I bet you I can cook just as well as them. I'm blind. I'm a home cook, and I can make delicious things, and I'm blind, and I mentioned that already, I know, but it's important, because the fact that I'm blind, so what, I might have a little bit of extra cleaning up to do. So, our yogurt is here. Believe me, by Saturday, we won't have 2,000 grams. What do we have? 2,110. I will show you guys on Saturday. So this goes into the fridge, so give me a second. Alrighty. Now, okay. So now we're gonna leave. See, I even got yogurt on my scale. How nice. It's okay. Nothing. We can't cry over spilt milk. Nothing that can't be rectified and cleaned. Now, yeah. That's it for tzatziki right now. I'm obviously going to show you guys on Saturday the rest of the process, but I just wanted to show you how to strain it. Remember, if you don't have a strainer on top of a bowl, cheesecloth, and it'll do the same trick. So let's get to our other dip. What are we going to call it in English? Hot feta cheese dip. Hot feta cheese dip. So I've washed... I have 1 red bell pepper. Bell peppers are the ones that feel like balls. It's a big... And then I've got hot peppers, which are these... I've been told that they're yellowy. They're long with a point at the bottom. So they're these long hot peppers. So we need to bake these because we need to take off the skin. So I've preheated my oven to 350 degrees. Now... I am going to use the whole red bell pepper in this dip, but I'm not going to use 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I've got 7 hot peppers. So these have been washed and they're completely dry. I'm not going to use 7 hot peppers in this dip. I don't think anybody can. You never know, but I can't eat it. this is another recipe where you go by taste. So my base is 500 grams feta cheese. And depending on how hot you like it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put, and I will show you guys, I'll put a quarter cup of, or even half a cup of olive oil into, no, sorry, see, my train of thought was lost. A quarter cup of olive oil into my Magic Bullet. You can do it in a food processor as well. I'm just going to use my Magic Bullet just because my food processor right now, I just used it for my meatballs. And so I'm not going to use my food processor, I'm going to use my bullet. So this is the good thing about having a lot of gadgets. We need to peel these and seed them. So I'm just going to put them on the baking sheet at 350. So I just have a rimmed baking sheet, a stainless steel baking sheet. I'm just going to place the peppers on. Where's the other one? There it is. And I'm going to put them in the oven. Now, how long will this take? Let's pull this one here. So I'm just trying to get them to fit properly anyways. So I've spaced them a little. You don't have to, we're just roasting them for the sake of being able to roast them and peel them. I'm just going to place them in the, now, this is the first time we're using the oven. I want to center this as much as possible. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to grab my oven mitts. Give me 1 second. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to open the oven and put them in, and I'll show you guys. So with one hand, I'm opening the oven door, and I'm holding the baking sheet at the two corners that are closest to me. And I'm going to feel, so see, I can feel, I'm hearing it, that I've placed the baking sheet on and I'm pushing in. Now, is it centered? Is it all the way in? I'm going to put my oven mitts on. And I've mentioned before that I hate oven mitts, but these are definitely a necessity here. With my oven mitts, I'm going to push, I'm going to count the bars of my oven. So of my oven rack. So 1 bar on each side, 2 bars. So I'm pretty much centered because I can feel the bars with my oven mitts. So don't try to do that without oven mitts. That would be dumb. And I'm going to set my timer just because who knows how long they'll take for them to soften up. You don't want them mush, but you want them roasted. I'm going to set it for about 15 minutes. Or maybe even 20 minutes. So I've set it for 20 minutes because I'm going to check them and I'm going to need to turn them. While that's happening, I could put you guys on hold, but I'm just going to quickly show you guys again the whole thing with the scale with the feta. Give me 1 second. So I've grabbed just a big plastic mixing bowl. And I bought feta cheese. I don't like the supermarket feta cheese. I will use it sometimes economically for cheese pies, but I don't prefer it. I buy feta cheese from a place that sells Greek products because I want feta cheese directly from Greece. The only reason is because the climate in Greece is different. The animals are eating different things than what the animals in Canada are eating. Just for the sake of climate, they have different herbs there, different grasses. And so feta from Greece does taste different from feta from Canada. I'm not saying that Canadian feta is not good. It's fine, it's good. I just prefer the Greek one. So I'm gonna turn on my scale.
Hello.
I have a piece here that I've bought from the Greek bakery. And how would you ask for this in English? This one is called tripoleos. It's aged in wooden barrels. And that's the best type of feta, in my opinion, that you can get. But if you just say, I want the one from the barrels, they'll understand. So I'm just going to weigh this piece that I have.
365 grams.
365 grams. We need more. So I'm just going to throw out that. So I have another piece here, which is bigger.
366 grams.
Alrighty, we've opened that up. And I do have a knife somewhere. And I will eventually find it.
367 grams.
And I don't know where it went.
364 grams.
We'll just grab another one. More knives and forks for everybody to wash. Okay, I'm going to cut off.
366 grams.
Yeah. So I'm just going to cut off another piece with my knife and stick it in the bowl.
452
So we're at 452. We want approximately about 500 grams. So I'm just going to cut off another piece.
482 grams.
482, a little bit more. Cut off another piece.
510 grams.
Okay. There's just some crumbles here. I'm just adding them.
517 grams.
I'm just adding some of the feta that crumbled.
521 grams.
Okay. So we've got 521. Remember what I said? Certain recipes, it doesn't matter. You're about 500 grams. You want to do 550, you do 550. You want to do a kilogram, you do a kilogram. You want to do 600, you do 600. This is all to taste. So we're just going to set the feta, the one we're not going to use, aside. Turn off the scale. And I've got a bowl now with pieces of feta in. So I'm just going to grab the feta between my fingers and I'm just going to crumble it all up. So think about, I don't know, think about crumbling, I shouldn't compare it to, but mud? What could you be crumbling? Anyways, I'm just crumbling it all up. I'm making it into little tiny pieces. And with your fingers, even squeeze some pieces to almost as if you're liquefying it, as if you're dissolving it. It doesn't matter. You're going to go through this again with a fork. So once our peppers are ready, while I'm doing this, I'm just going to tell you guys, once our peppers are ready and they've cooled, we're going to peel them, seed them, and then I'm going to add oil and hot peppers into my bullet. And I'm going to add it to this mixture and I'm going to mix with a fork. And while I'm mixing with the peppers and the oil, some of it is going to become very like a smooth dip. You don't want your hot cheese feta dip to be completely smooth. You want it to have a little bit of bite to it. You want to have a little bit of a texture to it. You want it to have a little bit of a few little pieces of feta. You don't want huge pieces, no. You want some smooth and a few little pieces. And we're going to mix it all together. Now, when you're going to taste. So you're going to start with a 1/4 cup of oil. I'm going to tell you right now that this is going to take a lot more than a 1/4 cup of oil. But you're going to start with a 1/4 cup of oil. You're going to put 1 piece of or 2 pieces of hot pepper into your bullet. You're going to pulse it until it's pretty much smooth. Add it in. You're going to taste. If it's not hot enough for you, you can add more. I think mine usually takes about, from my desired heat, I usually put probably about a 1.5 peppers to 2 peppers. My cameraman, he'd like me to put all 7 peppers in. He likes it really hot. So, no, I'm exaggerating 7 peppers, but he'd probably like the 3, maybe even 4 peppers in it. I probably am going to use about 2. And we're going to go by taste. Once you have the desired taste, you're going to need to have the texture as well. So you might need to add, you're going to add more olive oil. When you get that desired texture, and I will show you guys when the time comes, we're going to put it in the fridge. We're going to eat this on Sunday. Again, feta has a lot of salt in it. With the heat from the peppers and the olive oil, don't worry, it's not going to go bad on you. This will last probably a good 2 weeks in the fridge. And we're going to eat it on Sunday with our lamb and all our other delicious goodies. Here I go again. Yeah, losing my train of thought. I'm sorry. When you put it in the fridge, olive oil has a habit of, it gets cold. So your dip, when you try to take it out to serve it, this is something you should take out of the fridge I would say even 2-3 hours before you're going to actually serve it. It's going to be quite thickened up. You want it smoother. So you would add more oil, more olive oil before serving. It will never stay the texture that you want in the fridge, just because olive oil in the fridge tends to, it solidifies. So you want it to, when you bring it to room temperature, it'll liquefy again. So I'm almost halfway done the feta, but we need to wait for the peppers to roast. So I'm gonna put you guys on hold for now. And when it's time for me to turn the peppers, I'm just gonna show you quickly how I do that. And then hopefully when our peppers are done, I'll show you how to peel them. And then we will actually add them into our dip. So see you in a little bit. So I finished crumbling up the feta, and we're at the 10-minute mark, and I can actually smell my peppers roasting. So I need to check on them, and I want to show you guys how I'm gonna do it. So I've opened up the oven, and I'm putting my oven mitts on. I have oven mitts that go almost all the way up to my elbow. My mom would usually just pull out the rack and turn them. That's dangerous for a blind person. So I'm just gonna put I put the baking sheet on top of the stove, and I've closed the oven door. I'm just gonna, and be careful, they are hot, so you are gonna go a little, ouch, so they're pretty hard. They need more, so I'm just gonna flip them. Now, again, be careful, they're hot, but you need to flip them. So I'm flipping, ouch, ouch, hot. I've done 1, 2, ouch, ouch. I'm flipping again, 3, I'm feeling for the next one, flip. Whew, whew. I flipped 4, 5, 6, ow, ow, ow. They're not that hot, but they are. So flip again. And 7, and I've got to flip my big one. Now the big one, I don't know, can I do it with my hands? Yes, I can. And I'm just gonna flip her upside down. So I'm just gonna put it back in the oven. This is the 10-minute mark. I've checked on them. So I've showed you guys how to check on them safely. You can't really turn peppers with a spatula. So you're gonna have to use your fingers and go ouch, 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 ouch. And I'm putting it back in. I'm feeling my oven rack bars to make sure it's centered. It is, and I'm closing it up. And they probably need at least, I would say, another half hour. So I'll see you again when they're done. See you in a bit. Hi guys, so we're back. Our peppers have roasted. They were probably in the oven for about, I would say maybe, 20, maybe 30 to 40 minutes. And they're really soft, so I can't even, they're soft, okay? I'm not going to show you all these peppers, but they're warm, they're very hot, but if you just take a Ziploc bag or even a shopping bag and you put the pepper in, just as is hot, I put the big bell pepper in, and I'm going to put 1 hot pepper in, just to show you guys. I'm going to seal it. I've got the peppers in the bag, and I've sealed it, and I'm just going to shake, 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 shake. Shake, 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 shake. Just shake all around. I'm even gonna rub a little with my fingers. I'm grabbing the plastic bag. It's quite hot, but don't worry. I'm rubbing the peppers a little. I'm rubbing, and let's see if that's enough shaking. I'm gonna take hot. I'm gonna pour them out onto the counter so I can feel the steam. And what that does is, it makes the skin come right off. I can actually I don't even have to use a knife. It needs a little more shaking. So I'm just gonna put the hot pepper back in. Ooh, hot. Okay, hold on. Put it back in, seal the bag. I could get the skin off, but I wanna make it even easier. So I'm just shaking it around in the bag, all the steam. of the heat of the pepper. This is the easy way to peel them, especially for blind people. So, my mom does it with a knife. So I've got the pepper in my hand, and I'm just pulling. I can feel the skin, and I'm just going to pull it all off. And it just slides off because I've put it in the bag. And they're hot, so you're going to have to go slow. But you can feel the skin. You can feel it. Ow, ow. And there we go. You just kind of pinch the skin at the top end of the pepper, or the bottom, sorry, and you pull the skin right off. And, ooh, hot. Now, for the sake of video, they're pretty hot, but I would have waited a bit before I put it in the bag, but I want to show you guys because I'm pressed for time today. So I pretty much got all the skin off. I can feel it. And I'm going to take the knife, and I'm just going to chop off the part where the stem is. And I'm going to throw it out. And then I'm going to, as the pepper, I'm going to vertically slice it. Whoops. Just right through. With the tip of my knife, I just slid right through. And I'm going to open up the pepper, and I'm going to throw out all the seeds. I'm just going to toss them into the sink with my hands. So I'm just sliding my hands in the pepper, and the seeds are sticking to my fingers, and I'm just flinging my fingers in the sink, and I'm getting rid of all the seeds. Now I feel a little bit of skin that I missed. Whoops. And I just pulled it off. And there's a nice piece of hot pepper without skin and seeds or stem. And I'm going to set these aside. I'm going to do all of these. I'm going to peel them, chop the stems off, seed them, and then they'll be ready to go into our dip. And that's the way I'm also going to do the bell pepper. I'm just going to grab the skin at the top where the stem is and pinch at the top and pull right off. And it just comes off fabulously. So you're just going to peel all they're nice and soft, and like we said, we seed them, peel them, and once they've cooled completely and they're all peeled and seeded, we're going to put them into our dip. So once that is all done, I'll see you guys in a bit. I'm going to peel all of these, have them ready. I'm going to let them cool down, and then I'm going to show you guys how to finish off the dip. So see you in a little bit. So hi guys, we're back again, and as I told you before, I peeled all my peppers. I chopped off the stems and threw them out, and I cleaned the seeds. I did it a little quickly, so I just want to run it down with you guys again. You can either put the peppers as they're a little hot or a little warm into a bag and shake and pull off the skins, or really, the peppers, when you take them out of the oven, they should feel soft. And if you just go to the top of the pepper where the stem is, and you just lightly with your two fingers, your thumb and the finger next to it, you pinch, you'll feel the skin. You can just pinch it and pull it off. Pinch it and pull it off. And you can feel the difference in the pepper between with the part that has the skin and the part that doesn't. And you just open up the pepper with your fingers, wipe out all the seeds, and chop off the stem and throw it out. Now, for blind people, you may miss a seed. Well, that just means your dip will be a little hotter than it should be because the seeds are very hot. There are people who eat the peppers with the seeds, and it's extremely hot. Now, this is a recipe that we go by taste. I told you guys your base is your 500 grams Feta, which I've crumbled and I showed you guys. And we have our peppers. Now I've done 1 red bell pepper, sweet red bell pepper, and I've done 7 hot peppers. There's no way I'm going to use 7 hot peppers in here. And olive oil. I can't tell you guys how much because, as I said, you're going to put in about a 1/4 cup of olive oil, and your peppers, you're going to pulse it. You're going to put it into your dip. And then you're going to add a little bit of more oil to smooth it out. When you put it in the fridge, the oil will solidify. When you take it out for serving, you're going to have to leave it out for a couple of hours before serving, and you may have to add oil. Now, because I'm in a fasting period, I can't taste this to see if it's as hot as I would like. So what I'm going to do, and I'm going to do it right now in front of you guys, is I'm going to add 1.5 peppers. And I'm going to leave it at that. My fasting period ends on Saturday night at 12 a.m. At that point, I can take it out of the fridge and I can taste it. Remember how I said we're going to have to add more olive oil when we take it out of the fridge? Well, that will be my opportunity. If it's too hot, if it's not hot enough, I will add some more peppers and olive oil to my bullet and pulse it, and I will put it in. And if it's too hot, I will just add more feta and more olive oil. So I have the bullet, and for those who don't know, it's kind of a, I can't even describe this. It's a long container. It feels rounded at the bottom, and there's a flat opening. It feels like a glass, a plastic glass. That's an oxymoron, but anyways, it feels like a cup, a plastic cup that's rounded at the bottom. Yeah, so if you don't have a bullet, don't worry about it. I actually usually do this in my food processor, but I'm just going to do it in here now for my reasons. So I'm just going to put the whole red pepper in. The whole sweet red bell pepper. And this will just give it some nice color. Okay, now, with the hot peppers, I'm going to try to choose one that's a little bit, that looks like it's about half a hot pepper. So I'm going to put that in. I'm just going through them to choose which piece I want. So here's another hot pepper. That's 2. And I'm going to put in a smaller piece now. Maybe this one here. That's not too small. I'll cut it. Okay. So I've put in 3 pieces. It's probably about 1.5 peppers. It might be a little bit more. Now, my mother, when we were peeling the hot peppers, she actually tasted a little bit. It's good to taste them to see how hot they are, but I can't taste them. I can't eat hot peppers plain. I will cry. So my mom tasted it and she said, oh, they're not hot at all. But then she took a bigger piece and put it in her mouth, and she turned all red and her eyes were crying, and she said, oh my God, they're extremely hot. So, again, it's to taste. Again, it should not be, I'm just putting the peppers aside. It should not be feta cheese with a little bit of a hint of smell and taste of pepper. It should have a bite to it. There should be some heat to it. Remember, this is called tirokafteri. It's called hot cheese dip. So there should be heat to it. Again, then we go by taste, depending on how much you want. So I've got olive oil. 1 second. Now, I have bought a bottle that you kind of put on your table to serve olive oil and vinegar, and it's got a very fine, a much finer opening at the top for drizzling olive oil, because if I were to use the bottle that olive oil came into, the mouth of the bottle is very big. So I have a little bit more control with this. So I'm actually just going to put about 1/4 cup of oil. I'm going to place my 1/4 cup into my container where I've put the peppers, because it doesn't matter if a little more than 1/4 cup falls. Remember, we said olive oil is really, it's to smooth it out. So I'm just holding the cup sort of in the container, and I'm going to add olive oil. And I can hear it dripping, and eventually I'll feel it sort of falling all over my hands. Now, if I want, I can stop, because I didn't feel it on my hands, and I can put my finger as a blind person and feel how much oil do I got. It's not to the top quite yet, but you know what? I'm just going to tip it in. I'm going to set that down, and I'm just going to pour in a little bit more. So we probably got about 1/4 cup in there. So I'm going to place the blender part of the portion of the bullet. It's a round tablet sort of thing, and it's got, you can feel blades. I can feel 4 blades, 2 pointing upwards and 2 pointing downwards. So I'm just gonna put this on and turn and make sure it's closed tightly, because when you flip this over, you don't want all your olive oil falling out. I have the bullet in, I have it plugged in, and I'm just gonna pulse this for about 10 seconds. I don't want to pulse more than that. One, because the bullet needs, it's a very high powered machine, so it needs to rest for a few minutes so you don't burn the motor. But also I don't want to over mush these. So I'm going to pulse for 10 seconds. It'll be loud. And I did plug it in, but is it not plugged in? Yes, it is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And I'm going to stop it. Now, I can actually hear it pulsing, so I can actually hear that it hasn't made it smooth. I could probably check. I'm just shaking it around. I think it needs a little bit more, just by, not even by touching it, but I'm going to do it 10 more seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now I need to test it and see. So I'm opening up the container. I'm just tapping it so that if anything is on the blades, it'll fall in. Now, if you're sighted, you're going to take a spoon and a teaspoon, you're going to put it in. You're going to smush it around. You're going to try to lift and see if it's all mushed. Well, that doesn't help me as a blind person. So I'm actually going to use my fingers. Ooh, and I feel it's all smooth and creamy. And I'm just going to swipe again just to confirm. Feels all creamy to me. Okay, so I'm going to pour this into our feta. Whoops, just tip it all in. Tap the container to get as much out as possible. Just wiping my fingers from touching the peppers. Now, if you have a bad habit of licking your fingers when you're cooking, which I do, and I've done it on one of the videos, and my husband scolded me for it and said, you licked your finger in one of the videos. People are going to say, what is she doing? When you're cooking for your family, I don't think it really matters. But I do have a bad habit of doing that. But if I had forgotten now and licked my fingers, well, you guys would have seen me cry. And by the way, when you're seeding even when you're seeding and skinning your hot peppers, don't touch your eyes, your nose, your mouth, you'll burn. So I'm going to take a fork. I've got my crumbled feta. We've added the pepper oil, and I'm just going to start mixing all this. I'm going to press down onto the feta with my fork. I'm pressing down. So think about like mashing bananas, the way we mash bananas. I'm holding the fork flat, and I'm basically pressing down. And then I'm going to fold and stir and press down again. And, oops, and fold. And press, and press, and press, and fold. Now I'm just going to give it a nice vigorous stir and press again. And you're just going to keep doing this until you get the texture. Now, some people don't do it by hand. I do. I put my hands in because as a blind person, I can feel what's going on. So I will put my hands in now, and I will smush, and I will crumble, and I will mix. And it's almost as if you're doing a dough. Oops, sorry about that. It's almost as if you're doing a dough. So I'm going to do it with a fork again, but right now I'm using my fingers to crumble even more. So I'm actually picking up pieces of feta in my hands, and I'm smushing them. I'm pressing down with all my might so I can actually crumble them, even make them like paste. Remember what I said, we don't want to make all of this paste. So you just keep folding and with your fingers, crumbling and stirring. And you keep doing this until you get that desired texture. You want about, it's not set in stone, but let's say you want about half of it to be smooth. So you just keep doing this. Now this is going to need more olive oil, definitely. I can feel it already. So I'm just, and I actually just picked up a whole piece, a whole bunch in the palm of my hand, and I squeezed. So I'm just squeezing and mushing, and you can hear it as I'm doing that. Now this feta happens to be a little bit harder than I would like, so it's a little bit harder to do. Usually I like my feta to be softer, and I actually, what I'm doing, I'm also grabbing really big pieces of feta, and with my fingers I'm pressing them down against the bottom of the bowl so I can actually mush them. So we're just gonna do that, and I'm doing that. So any really big pieces that I feel. Now, I'm not going to add much more olive oil at this point because I know that I may have to add olive oil to add more hot peppers once I'm able to taste this. And I'm not going to, and also I'm going to need more olive oil when it solidifies. So I'm just going to add a little bit more. I'm just going to tip my bottle over the bowl and shake it and just let some drop in. And that's good enough for now. And then we're going to go by taste. So I'm just going to mix again. And again, I'm pressing down on the feta that I feel hard. And it's getting there. It's getting to be more of a, like I said, a smooth mixture. But this is going to take a while. This is going to take a while until I get it to where I want it. So I will continue doing this. And we'll be back in a few minutes so I can show you the final product, and I'm going to put it in a glass container. So see you guys in a bit. Let me crumble and I'll show you the final finished product. So we're back again. I've mushed a lot. And as I said before, the feta that we got this time is a little bit hard. So it's pretty good. I can feel it. It's pretty good. It's a nice dip. But because it's a little bit hard, I'm just going to wipe. Okay, actually just run my hand underwater so I can get all the feta off my hand. And I'm actually going to use a potato masher. So I've got one of these potato mashers, not the round ones with the grid. I've got one that has, if you run your finger where the part is where you mash, it feels like somebody has done horizontal lines back and forth, squiggly horizontal lines back and forth. So I'm running my finger up and down. So it feels like 1, 2, 3, I don't know, maybe about 10 lines. So I'm just going to take this and I'm going to mash. Now, if you don't know how to mash, you're just going to press down with a lot of might. And then because it comes up, you're going to tap so it all falls back in. And you're going to mush again. And you're going to mush. Just keep mushing all around. Move your masher around the bowl. Now, I don't want to over mush, so I'm just going to stick my finger in and see what's going on. Not bad, but a little more. Okay, mush again. And I'm going to have to use my masher to scoop it up and fold it in. Okay. Tap. All right, let's mush again. And we're mushing, and mushing, and mushing, and mushing, and mushing, and mushing. So I'm just using all my might. I'm going to tap to get it off the masher. I'm going to test with my fingers. There's not really anything left on there. I'm just going to set that aside. Now I'm going to use my hands again to feel. Feels pretty good to me. Feels nice. There's hardly any large chunks. You feel chunks that feel kind of like grains of rice. So if you're feeling grains of rice, that's good. Now, if you have a few pea-sized pieces, that's fine too. I think it's pretty good. Again, I may have to add more oil and more And as I'm talking to you guys, I'm just going through it with my fingers just to make sure I haven't missed any large pieces. But it's pretty good. It feels creamy with rice grains and pea-sized pieces, not too many. I don't really see any large pieces. So now, remember you're going to mash this again when you add more oil and so on and so forth. You can store this. I'm just cleaning off my hand again. You can store it in an airtight container. For feta cheese, I prefer glass containers. I find that sometimes plastic containers give it a smell that I don't like. So I'm just going to put my 1/4 cup into the sink. I'm going to put my fork into the sink. Get rid of my masher. We don't want any accidents. And this is pretty empty. I'm looking at my container that I originally pulsed the peppers. I'm going to stick my hand in, and I actually feel a little bit. So I'm going to just, I'm putting my hand in and swiping down over the bowl. Whatever's left in the container of the hot pepper, where we pulsed the hot pepper, I'm just throwing it in. And I've done that. Put that in the sink. And I'm going to check the part where the blades were with I'm going to be very careful because I don't want to cut myself. I'm just going to shake that over. I'm going to take my spoon and I'm just going to mix it all up again, just because I added a little bit more what was left in the container. Okay, good enough for now. Because like I said, we're going to have to mix this again. And I'm just going to wipe my hands. And, whoops, not good enough. I have, it's a rectangular glass container. And it's got a lid on top that I'm not sure if it has a color, if it's see-through. Is it see-through? Mm-hmm. So it's a see-through top. And it's got on all 4 sides, it's got these, what can we call these? In Greek, my mom calls them ears. But anyways, they're these, I can't even think of the English word now. They're these rectangular long things. Things. This is good. Anyways, and these, you lift them up to open up. When you put the cap back on, So I'm just taking off the lid and I'm going to pour my feta mixture into my bowl. Now, as a blind person, I need to hold the edge of my bowl with my mixture over the edge of the tupper farthest from me so that when I do this, it can all go in. Now, I'm pushing it in with my spoon. Pushing it in. Pushing it in. Pushing it in. Now, I'm putting it down for a second because I need to smooth this out into the bowl so we can get all of it in. So I'm just pushing down with my spoon and evening it out to give it more room as well. Okay, now, there's not much left in the bowl from what I can feel. So as a blind person, I can't do it with my spoon. So I'm just gonna, with my finger, I'm gonna wipe off whatever's on my spoon into the bowl. And I'm actually gonna use my fingers now to get the rest of it in. So again, I'm holding the bowl over my container, and with my hands, I'm feeling what's left in the bowl, and I'm just pushing it into my glass tupper, and I'm pressing down gently into the mixture, into my tupper to make it all fit. And it feels nice and creamy and smooth, and I'm just cleaning out the mixing bowl. And I've pretty much gotten everything out. So now, since my hand is all full of feta, since I just took it out, I'm just gonna press down on the mixture in the tupper to just get it nice and even. And there's room left in this tupper. So this was a good size. And I'm just going to clean off my hands. As best we can right now. And I'm going to place the lid on top. So it's the lid with the the flaps. So I'm just going to find it. Okay. It fits. And then I'm going to clip. You're going to hear the flaps click as I press them down on the sides. So this is an airtight container. And I got a little bit of Feta on the outside. So I'm just going to wipe it. And if you're blind, you should do that because you don't know what you've dropped on your counter or on your tupper. And I'm going to place this in the fridge. And like I said, I'm going to, before serving, I'm going to test it. And if I need more olive oil or more heat, I will add it. If I need more Feta because it's too hot, I will add it. I will crumble it and add it. And I will mix again and just do the whole process. And that's it for this cheese dip. So we will be back in a few minutes so I can show you our second recipe, which is the tzatziki. Putting this in the fridge and hoping it's not too hot. See you in a few minutes. So for our second recipe, as we said, one was the hot cheese dip and the other was the tzatziki. So remember I put all the yogurt into the strainer and I told you guys that it has to sit there for 48 hours. So it's actually around the 20-hour mark since I added the yogurt to the strainer. So I just want to show you guys what it looks like. So give me a second. I'm going to get it out of the fridge. So, feels quite heavy. So I'm just bringing it to my counter. So I'm going to take off the lid. The yogurt was all the way to the top when we filled it. We were afraid it was going to, when we put the lid on, that it was going to spew out of the end. So I put my finger in. It's quite a bit down. So it's probably about 2 horizontal. If I put my fingers horizontally, it's probably about 2 fingers down. So already you can see the difference. For those who are sighted, you can see the difference. But for those who are blind, you can feel the difference. So I'm going to lift my insert with my fingers. And I'm going to place it on the lid. And there's quite a bit of liquid in here. The camera will show you guys. I can feel it. I can feel that there's quite a bit. So I'm just going to dump it out. So you heard that. That's a lot of liquid. I'm going to place the insert back in. I'm going to grab a napkin, again, a paper towel. As you can see, I go through a lot of paper towels because I've got yogurt on my hands. And I'm just going to replace the lid and put it back in the fridge for another, till tomorrow. So today is Friday. So we started this on Thursday. Today is Friday. We just emptied out the liquid. And I'm going to actually make this on Saturday, so tomorrow. And I will check it before I go to bed tonight and see if there's any liquid that needs draining. And of course, I will drain out any liquid tomorrow before I actually make my tzatziki, which I will show you guys how to do. So see you in about 24 hours. Hi guys, so we're back. It's Saturday, May 1st, 2021. So remember we strained our yogurt for our tzatziki on Thursday. So, and I showed you guys yesterday, Friday, I showed you guys how I emptied out the liquid and how it was basically down to half. So here we go. We're going to continue the recipe now. Now we're actually going to make the tzatziki. So it's 2 days later. So we're going to start with a cucumber. So the cucumber, it's just one of these long cucumbers we get from the supermarket. I use a potato peeler. I can use a knife to peel it, but I end up cutting a lot off of the meat of the actual vegetable. So I use a potato peeler, and your potato peeler has, for those of you who have never used one, it's got this, it feels like two lines. It's a blade actually, but it's not very sharp, but don't put pressure and run your finger across from it. But it has a blade that kind of feels like it's a curved, long, rectangular blade, and it's attached on either side to kind of an arch thing, like an arch, which has a handle. So if I hold a handle and hold it up, and this arched blade, that's a long rectangle, in the middle, it's got an empty space. So it's almost like as if it's two blades. So you want to use that with the arch on the vegetable, not the other way around. If you're putting it on your vegetable, if you take your potato peeler and you place it on your vegetable, it actually, this particular one won't even, it doesn't even work. But, you know, that's a different thing. You need to have the arch on the vegetable. Okay, so you hold your cucumber and you find the top where the stem was. And you you feel with your finger. I'm feeling with one of my fingers. I have the potato peeler in my hands, and with my finger I feel the top, the stem, and I get my blade as close to that as possible, the arch that I was talking about. And I add pressure, and I slice down. I slice through. So this is how you peel a cucumber. You get a nice, and then I keep going. Now I can feel the spot where I took off the peel. If I run my finger, I can actually feel the difference where the peel is and where it isn't. But sometimes you never know. Your hands might be tired. You're gonna keep doing that. You're gonna start at the top and apply pressure and go down, and your peel comes out nice and paper thin. So you're not losing too much of the cucumber. So you're just gonna go all around. You're gonna keep going all around, feeling with your finger, hoping that it's coming off. And I'll show you guys. You'll see. I'm gonna mispeel. Pardon me. I know I'm gonna miss some of the peel, and I'll show you guys how I'm gonna figure that out. So I'm just I'm turning the cucumber. I'm turning it, going to the top, adding pressure and sliding down all the way to the bottom to the cucumber. Turning the cucumber a little bit, and again, turning and all the way at the top, and I just keep going all around until I think that I've went all around. So, with my fingers now, I can feel that I've left. And I'm just going to go and take that off because I felt that I had peel. Now, if I were to, see, I'm feeling it while I'm talking to you guys, and I just felt another peel. So I'm going to find the top where the stem is, and I'm going to, and I'm going to get rid of it. Now, I'm sure there's more left, and I'm going to tell you guys. There is, if I use a knife to get rid of cucumber peel, I'm going to get rid of more of the actual vegetable than I am if I turn it around and I just, without even feeling, slice off a little bit. Again, it's the cucumber, so this I actually pulled off, is probably, this feels like cucumber. It's not a peel. And it's so paper thin that I probably would have gotten more of this off with the knife. But what I'm going to do is, I am going to go around because I have that, and I'm going to feel. Now, I've turned, forgot to mention this. So we were holding the cucumber with the stem up, where the stem was. Turn it around now, because now you want to go to the butt of the vegetable, and you want to get the parts that maybe you didn't get all the way down. And you just kind of go, keep going. Keep going. Okay, now, at the bottom, not the part where the stem is, I can feel quite a bit of peel at the bottom. I'm just going to start, I'm going to feel where the peel starts. So maybe from the bottom, maybe maybe a couple of centimeters. I'm just going to start from a couple of centimeters. And I'm just going to go down, just the way I was doing with the stem, but it's only a couple of centimeters while I'm turning. So I'm getting more of the peel close to the end of the cucumber off. Doesn't matter if you don't get it all because we're going to chop off the end. And I'm going to turn it around and I'm going to go back to the stem and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm not going to go 2-3 centimeters up. I'm only going like maybe 1 because we were feeling where we were starting. So I'm sure there's not a lot left. So that's just me tapping my potato peeler if any skin is left. So I feel a little bit. Okay. And I think, let's double check. Might be a little here, we'll see. I don't like what I'm feeling there. Might be a peel, just get rid of it. Aha, maybe a little here. And I think we are, aha, I just found another one. Okay, hopefully I've gotten it all off. My fingers, I might have left a little piece. Who knows? It's not, I've probably left so little that it doesn't matter. But let's see what cameraman's going to say. Mm-hmm. Is there any left?
Yes, a little bit.
How much little? Little?
A little bit here. Turn it around. Turn it around. Stop. Take your hand here. Right here. That little piece.
So one little piece.
Yeah.
So even if I had left that, it wouldn't really matter. But since we have sighted confirmation, let's just get rid of it. Okay.
There you go.
So in other words, guys, I got probably 98% of the peel off. So I really wouldn't worry. Try to get as much off as possible. Maybe you guys have more sensitive fingers than I do. You can even feel it even better. Now, chop the ends off the cucumber because close to the stem, sometimes, especially if it's from the garden, it's a little bit bitter towards the stem. So I'm just going to, where the stem was, sorry, this way, where the stem was, I'm just going to slice off a piece. Throw that out. Go to the butt of the vegetable and slice off a bit. I don't know, just a slice. I can't even describe how much. Just, I don't know, half an inch maybe, not even. Maybe half a centimeter. Who knows? Anyways, guys, a small slice. Slice it off. Okay, now, I'm going to cut my cucumber because it's really long. I'm going to cut it in 1. So I'm just putting it flat on my counter. I'm cutting it horizontally. So I'm cutting it into 2 and 3. I'm feeling with my fingers where I want to cut, and then I'm just putting the knife through. So now I have 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces of cucumber. So we don't need this anymore.
There's a little bit of peel right there.
Okay. Not a big deal. Cameraman told me peel. We got rid of peel.
Right there. Good.
Good. Alrighty. Again, not that it matters, but, you know. So now, I have a big plastic bowl, just one that you would put, I don't know, chips in or something. And I have use a mesh or a very fine strainer that maybe you would wash rice in. Or I have a stainless steel strainer that has very, very, very tiny holes. Very tiny. So, I'm just going to put that over the bowl. And I'm going to find my box grater, which is this one. Now, remember I told you guys the box grater has 3 sides with holes and 1 side with the sort of slices. It's okay. Sorry, it's the day before Pascha for us, Easter. So you might see people kind of walking by. We're doing a lot of preparations. Anyways, back to this. So we said the one has these sort of lines that are the blades on the box grater for doing cheese. And then we have 3 sides. We want the finest this time. I told you guys when I did the tomato in another recipe, I did it on the holes that were the biggest and the furthest apart. Then we have the prickly side that feels really prickly. And we have the smoothest side, which has the tiniest holes. So you're going to put in your strainer, and you're going to take your cucumber, and you're going to do it on the finest side. And you're just going to quickly just hold your cucumber at the tip and add a little pressure and go up and down on the box grater so that you can grate the cucumber. So we're just doing that quickly. Now, I'm just pushing some off with my finger that's stuck to the, whoops. Okay, we don't want that piece, it fell on the floor. So leave that piece and we'll go to the next one. And again, I'm holding the box grater at the top so that it doesn't fly out of my hands just like the piece of cucumber did. Okay, I'm just going to push some off into the strainer. So it builds up on your box grater and around where you're grating. So you just push it down with your fingers. Like right now I'm going to stop. I'm going to push it down off the box grater into the strainer. Okay. Now, I'm getting close to the end of the piece. That's where the other piece flew out of my hand. That's actually the first time that's happened to me. I swear I'm telling the truth. I am. I admit my mistakes. Now, I've gotten to the end of the cucumber. So now I'm applying pressure to the very thin slice that's left. And I'm applying pressure and I'm going slow. And I'm trying to grate. I basically can't get any more. So I have a very thin sort of paper slice piece that's left. You can't grate that, so we're just going to throw that. And we go on to the next piece. Whoops, let me get some off the grater. Okay. And here we go. Now, while I'm doing this, let me tell you guys that I've pre-grated my garlic cloves. I am going to show you how to do one because I grated 10 cloves. I haven't measured out my yogurt yet because I want to do it with you guys. So I want to see how much yogurt do I have now that I've strained it. But my cloves were huge. I mean, huge, huge. So 10 of the cloves that I grated are probably like 15 of the supermarket cloves. The ones you get from your basic supermarkets. I try to buy the, if you can find them, I know that as a blind person, you can't see it, but you can always ask. I try to buy the garlic that's kind of purpley in color. I find those ones to be hotter. And I like the taste better. But anyways, so I've grated quite a bit, but I'm going to show you guys. I'm not going to put it all into my yogurt because my cloves were really big. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add half of what I've grated just to show you guys. And tonight at midnight, my fasting period ends. So at midnight, I'm going to taste it and see how hot it is. Because normally, if I was making this during a period where it wasn't a fasting period, I would just taste and go, taste and go. I would add a half of my garlic, taste. Half of my garlic, whatever. Another, maybe a little bit more of my garlic, taste. I can't do that right now because I'm still fasting. Like I said, the fast does end in a few hours. Probably, I don't know, 4 or 5 hours I think are left. So at that point in time, I'm actually going to taste it, and I'm going to save the garlic that I've grated, and I'm going to taste it and see how much more it needs. Because again, that's a preference. So remember I told you guys about the 100 gram So 1 clove of garlic per 100 grams. I still stick to that unless you're buying garlic that each clove, is like friggin', I said friggin', I didn't say a bad word. It's friggin' half the size of an egg. Well, you can't really count that as 1 clove. So that's why you kind of gotta go with taste. So I'm almost done the cucumber. And I'm just getting to the end. And I don't, oops, get rid of that. I'm just throwing more into the strainer that's on the box grater. So when we go for break, because I probably need to put you guys on hold for something. When we go on break, I need to get the cameraman to pick up that piece of cucumber before somebody squishes it all over the floor. Which would probably be me. Alrighty, so we're at the end. I'm getting about half an inch, 1/4 of an inch. And that's it, paper thin. Okay, so now, just gonna get everything off the grater. I'm just feeling with my hands and I'm pushing it down into the strainer. Now, there's always some left inside the box grater. So you're gonna put your hand inside, and I actually will get the camera to show. I'm sure that he can show there's a whole bunch in there. So you're gonna put your hand in and whoop, swipe, and look how much I'm getting out. So that's all cucumber that you need for your tzatziki. You don't want it to go to waste. Okay, got most of it out. Some is gonna stick to the grater or to your hands. Yeah, get as much out as possible. Now, this is what your strained your grated cucumber looks like. What you're gonna actually do is put your hand in the strainer, feel the cucumber, okay? And you're gonna pick up a bunch in your hands. It doesn't matter how much. Whatever fits in your hands, the size of a walnut. And you're gonna squeeze, and liquid's gonna run out of your hands. You're gonna put it a little bit on the side. You're gonna grab another bunch. And if I'm quiet, you may actually be able to hear the liquid. So listen. See? You can hear the liquid dripping out of my hand. So I've done that. And then you're going to grab another piece. And squeeze. So basically you're squeezing out all the juice. And that's why we have the bowl underneath to catch the liquid. So I'm going to show you. I'm almost done. Whoops. See, I can't fit that in my hand. It's good to close your fingers around what you're squeezing. Otherwise, it's going to go flying all over the place. Now, I'm almost to the last little piece, and I'm going to tell you guys. When you squeeze it out and you feel the liquid coming out, don't be fooled. Cucumber has a lot of water in it. So you think that you've gotten it all out. It feels pretty good. It feels dry in your hands. It feels like you've gotten it all out. That's not true. So that's how much liquid came out now. And we'll see. We might not be able to get much more out. We'll see. I'm going to dump that out. And you're going to keep squeezing, giving it a squeeze. I'm actually going to set this aside. I'm giving it one more squeeze just before I set it aside. I'm just going to squeeze, okay? And I'm going to set it aside. I'm going to let it sit for a little bit. Probably squeeze it. There's no real time frame. Squeeze it about every 5 minutes. I'm going to set this aside. And we're going to move on to the yogurt. So I've got my handy kitchen scale. I'm sure you guys are getting tired of me saying that, but I have a nice glass see-through clear glass bowl. Try to store tzatziki in a glass bowl. Some people do store it in plastic containers. I personally don't like it. It really makes the containers smell. It's really hard to get the garlic smell out of those containers. If you run it through a dishwasher and even with vinegar and stuff like that, you can get the smell off. I just don't prefer it. Glass is even better. It's just better. You can use whatever you want, of course. And I have this is actually, it has a nice plastic lid, just like Tupperware does, just like, Tupperware, and it fits nice and snug. You want this to be snug in the fridge. Anyways, so I'm removing the lid. I have the glass bowl on my scale. Here's the yogurt that we had straining. I'm going to remove the lid, and I'm going to just set it aside here. And I'm going to, this is what's left. So there's even a difference from yesterday when I showed you guys. Not much, but there is. And I'm going to lift the insert out, place it on the lid, and get rid of what's ever in here. So it did catch more liquid from yesterday. Not as much as the day before, but it did. And I'm just going to run really hot water in that. Well, I'll do that later. Anyways, so now I want to weigh our yogurt and see what do we have left. And I'm just going to use my hands. Most people use a spoon. I don't.
Hello.
Because
It's ready.
so it's ready. I don't want to use a spoon because one, I'm afraid of damaging the mesh, because this is really thick yogurt now. So trying to scoop it out, you might damage the mesh. So I'm just going to use my fingers and push it out into the bowl.
47 grams. 221 grams.
So see how, at least for those people that can see how thick it is now? It's not your typical yogurt that you get at the supermarket. But it has the same taste. Okay.
526 grams.
And because I'm dropping this slowly, she's telling us
109 grams.
the measurements. We'll get the final one eventually.
858 grams. 878 grams.
And, whoops, I just lost a little bit. Okay.
903 grams. 904 grams.
So I'm just with my fingers, I'm wiping around. It's kind of sticking to my fingers, so, but I'm wiping and getting more out and more. And there is a little bit more, I can feel it, which now I'm gonna get whatever's off my hand.
923 grams.
Okay, now, there's probably a little bit more left, but for time's sake and for the sake of the video, I'm not going to fuss with it. I will add it in later because I know...
125 grams.
So she's telling me that it's 927 grams. There is probably another spoonful or so in here that I'll get out. So it's what I told you guys. I probably have about 1 kilogram of yogurt. Maybe not, maybe a little less. It doesn't matter. So Thursday when we put the yogurt to strain, it was 2,110. Now it's 930, approximately. So take that off the scale. Turn off the scale.
184 grams. Goodbye.
Now, while I was doing that, it took us a few minutes. I'm going to check on my cucumber and give it another squeeze. Just like we did before. I push all the cucumber to the side, and I grab a piece in my hands and I squeeze, and I put it on the other side of the bowl, the other side of the strainer. I grab another piece and I squeeze, and I feel liquid coming out. I feel it dripping off my hands. So I squeeze, and I can hear it and I can feel it. And I'm just giving it another squeeze. So you're going to squeeze all of it. Whoops. I think I may have just squirted the cameraman or even the camera. Ha ha ha. And it's not very quiet here today for you guys to hear. I have a nice machine and I forgot to turn it off. And we're getting ready for our feast, for our Easter celebration. So, like I said, there's a lot going on. They're actually being nice and leaving me alone to do this. But you never know, right? So I've given it another squeeze. Now, from my experience, this is almost ready. Maybe one more time. So I'm gonna see if I can dump anything out of the bowl. And I did. And I'm gonna set it aside again. And some of it is gonna, when you're squeezing the cucumber, some of it is gonna get on your hands that you just can't get it off unless you run it underwater. So don't freak out. Oh my God, I'm losing my yogurt. So now we have salt, and I should dry my hands. Salt is really to taste. You've got cucumber, you've got yogurt. So I'm only gonna put half a teaspoon of sea salt. I'm only putting half a teaspoon because, again, at midnight when I'm allowed to eat, the fasting period is over, I can taste. So I will taste it, and if it needs a little more, I'll just add. And again, that's a preference thing. I don't think tzatziki should have too much salt. You shouldn't really be able to taste the salt. If you're tasting salt in your tzatziki, you've added way too much. So in the bowl with our tzatziki goes half a teaspoon of salt. Now we've got tons of garlic. So be careful with your pepper. I'm just going to add 1 pinch of pepper. Just 1 pinch. Just for a little color, let's say. Now, I'm going to add, let me show you guys the garlic. So, here's my garlic that I've grated. Now, to somebody who's not making tzatziki, maybe they might not think that's a lot. That's a lot of garlic. I'm not going to add all this, like I said. This is probably 1.5 tablespoons, I'd say. Maybe. But I want to show you guys. Again, just like the cucumber, I have a smaller grater in my hands. Just like the cucumber, you're going to find it's got the same feel. Just like the big box grater. But it's a small one. And you're going to go on the finest side. You're going to take a garlic clove, which I've peeled. And you're just going to hold it horizontally. And you're going to hold it tight because it'll slide all over the place. Hold it tightly with your fingers and grate on the finest side. Just like we did the cucumber, but now you're doing garlic. So just grate. Grate it. You're going to say to me, now you're doing more garlic. That's okay. I'm not going to add all this. I'm doing it for you guys. Now I'm getting to the end. The end is hard. I'm trying to hold it with my fingers so that it doesn't fly out of my fingers and slide everywhere. But you're always going to have a little tiny piece that you just can't grate. Please don't cry over spilt milk. It's no big deal. You're just going to throw that out. And then you're going to slide, just like we did with the cucumbers. You're going to remove whatever's on the grater. stick your hand inside. There's probably some in there. And you're going to stick your hand inside and pull it out. So this is what I got out, which is probably maybe even half the clove that I just did. Okay, so I'm just going to set that aside. Now, like I said, I'm worried about this garlic. So I'm going to actually measure it out and see. So that's probably a tablespoon because I'm not packing it. I just added a tablespoon till I added the garlic to the tablespoon till it got to the top. If I were to pack it, it would fit more, but I'm not going to do that. For right now, I'm going to add the tablespoon. Normally, I wouldn't measure it. I just measured it out for you guys to see. In my experience, I think it needs a little more, so I'm just going to add half of what's left in my bowl. So I'm just, with my fingers, I'm bringing it all together. And I'm feeling I'm going to try to approximate the half. Actually, I'm putting a little bit less than a half because I'm afraid. Okay, that's it for garlic for now. Like, oh, look. Some yogurt. I thank God I disinfected my counters before we started. So that's part of being blind. So I dropped some yogurt on the counter. Cameraman who's shy didn't tell me, but it was a nice tablespoon of it. Why should it go to waste? This is my counter. I've cleaned it. I know it's 100% clean. So, you know, if I was a Hollywood star, I wouldn't have done that. But I'm not a Hollywood star. I'm Zoe. I'm cooking in my kitchen for my family, and things like that happen. And most of you out there would have done the same. You would have saw a blob of yogurt that fell out of your spoon by accident. You would have just scooped it up and put it in your bowl because you've cleaned your counters. Love you guys too. Yes, those are my bad habits, but remember, it's also that I'm blind. Okay, let's put that aside. Now, okay. This is my teaspoon. For the sake of time, I'm not going to do this over a bowl like I told you guys. It says apple cider vinegar. Normally, I would put this over a bowl so that I don't lose half the bottle. But right now, because of time's sake, I'm just going to do it over the sink, and whatever I lose, I lose. And I've got a teaspoon and a whole bunch on my hands. So I'm just going to dump that in and cover the bottle so we don't have another accident. Because we've already had a few this episode. Okay. And the last thing we need to put in is olive oil. So we've put garlic, salt, or yogurt. Oh, sorry. Before we do olive oil, let's check on it's been sitting for 3 minutes, on our cucumber. Let's give it a squeeze and see what happens. Oh, I'm still getting a little bit out, see? So I can actually feel, and I don't know if you guys can actually hear it, but I'm getting more liquid out. So you want to try to get as much liquid out, because if you don't, this is going to release into your tzatziki. And if you like your tzatziki a little thick, all of a sudden you're going to have a soup. If you don't squeeze your cucumber. Okay, give it one more. So now my cucumber's getting there to the point that I can actually grab it in maybe 4 pieces. 4 pieces. It's just the way I'm squeezing it. It's not pieces. But I'm putting little balls of it into my hands and I'm squeezing, and it's probably about 5 little balls. So that big cucumber, 5 little balls. So I'm just going to set it aside again while we put our oil in. Oil. Olive oil is expensive and I lost my tablespoon. So, give me a second. I threw it in the sink, probably. When I did my garlic, so I'm just getting another one out. Alrighty. Remember what I told you guys about measuring spoons? Tablespoon is the biggest one. So I feel them. It's at the end. It's the biggest one. Smallest one is on one side. The small and the big spoons have a very big difference. So you can't miss the tablespoon. All right, olive oil. Now, olive oil is expensive and I am going to grab a bowl because if I lose olive oil, that's not a good thing. Okay, so I'm just going to dump olive oil into my tablespoon. I'm using the finger trick that I told you guys with the sort of trying to feel the cushion of my, whoa. Well, maybe because I'm talking, I'm not paying attention. So that's 1 tablespoon. It's going to go in. And I'm going to put another tablespoon in. Okay. I just let some drop. It doesn't matter. I let a lot drop. That's okay. Okay, I'm going to give it a mix so I can see what's happening. Because this is another way you're going to figure it out. Spoon, spoon, spoon. I'm just grabbing a regular teaspoon. And I'm going to mix this all up. The salt, the vinegar, the yogurt, the garlic, the oil. I'm just mixing it all up. Now, this might be thicker than you want, but you don't want to add all your oil right away because you may overdo it. You add it a little at a time. And you want to mix it in so that it incorporates really well. So I'm just mixing. Now, it's time to add our cucumber. So this is probably the 4th time I'm going to squeeze, which is also the last time, because I can pretty much feel it. Even if I get liquid out now, it's pretty much, my grated cucumber has become compact. I'm for the people who are blind, I'm actually holding a piece in my hand as if it's a piece of very soft bread or, I don't know, something like that. But I'm actually holding a piece in my hand. So I'm going to squeeze it. And now I'm going to put it in my yogurt, but I'm opening it up a little bit. I'm opening it up with my hands. I'm just opening it up and tossing it in. And again, the next piece. And opening it up and just distributing it around the bowl. And again. And actually this is big, so let's do that. Okay. I've got a little bit more to go. I'm squeezing to make sure I get the last liquid out of it. And I'm just putting it in again. And our last piece, it's a little big. Let's see if I can do it. Yeah. I'm giving this one more of a squeeze just because it's a bigger piece. So I'm squeezing it 3, 4, 5. Because I feel a little bit of liquid coming out, but I want to hear no more liquid when I squeeze. I'm feeling drips. A few more drips. And we're good. And that's in. And that's it for that. So yogurt is in. Oops. Sorry, cucumber is in. So you can tell what kind of a day I'm having. I'm very, very tired because I've cooked up a storm. And I wish I could show you guys everything, but I can't right now. But okay, we're going to give it another mix. Now we want to get everything all mixed up really well. The cucumber, the garlic, the oil, the salt, the pepper. Now, I'm going to show you guys something. If I lift up a teaspoon, I haven't finished mixing. I feel like it needs more mixing, okay? It's not a, and bring from the bottom, fold from the bottom up, and then stir just like all around, just as if you're stirring a cake batter or something. Now, if I bring up a spoonful, I'm going to tip. Doesn't even fall off the spoon. That's really thick. Well, okay, now it fell off. But it took like 5-10 seconds. So, you know, this is really thick. Some people don't like it this thick. And I don't want it this thick either. And just because I'm blind, I want to make sure too. So, I'm tipping it. It doesn't fall, but I'm also going to touch it. Yeah, that's really thick stuff. Really thick. I want it a little thinner. So I'm going to add another tablespoon of oil. Just getting whatever's off my hands. If you make tzatziki the proper way like I'm showing you guys, remember, you cannot add more yogurt. This is why we add garlic slowly. We don't have any more strained yogurt put aside. Okay, yeah, I have a couple of tablespoons, whip-de-doo. But you don't have 200 grams of strained yogurt sitting aside. So if you get it too hot, isn't it a shame to throw it all out? Like, that's why you go slow with the garlic.
Good.
Yeah, I know, but I think my hands are tired and I'm not feeling properly. So my cameraman, he can attest. I've been chopping garlic all day and vegetables and whole bunch of stuff. So my hands are really tired, but it's okay. Thank you. So I've added another tablespoon and I'm going to mix. See, now it's easier to mix because I've added another tablespoon. Again, this is a preference thing. See, now I can even go quick because the oil is thinning it out. The longer this sits, the flavors will blend. And it might even taste a little bit hotter tomorrow. So keep that in mind. When you reach your desired heat, maybe always stop, maybe just a little bit, a touch before your desired heat, because it's good to try, maybe add more garlic the next day. Okay. So now I'm doing just the same thing. I'm tipping the spoon to see if it falls off easier. And it falls off quicker than it did before. It's still quite thick, but it's good. But it's still quite thick. Now, I would add a little bit of more oil, but there's other people in this house eating. And I also want to taste it. So, for right now, actually, you know what? I don't care what everybody says. This is my tzatziki. I'm going to add a little bit more. I probably got a little bit, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm going to add, I just scooped into the boil. Mm-hmm. I scooped a bowl out of my oil, yeah. So some of the oil that fell in my bowl, see, it doesn't go to waste. I just took my tablespoon and I scooped out some. It doesn't even really matter how much. Because I felt my yogurt that it was really thick and I wanted it to thin out a little bit more. And I'm just giving it a really good mix. And for those who are sighted, you don't want your oil to be on top of your tzatziki. You want it blended in. I mean, I'm sure as a sighted person, you've never gone to a restaurant and be served tzatziki with a whole bunch of oil sitting at the top, right? If that's happening, that's, I don't know, that's not good. Okay, for right now, guys, I like it, but until I taste it, I don't know. So, I'm just going to cover this and put it in the fridge. And if I wasn't, right now I would taste. Is it hot enough? Oh, I have some garlic. Let me add a little more. Is it not enough oil? Do I want the texture in my mouth to be a little thinner? I would add a little bit more oil. Do I want it a little bit saltier? Which, like I said, it shouldn't be too salty, but you know, I added sea salt. Sea salt doesn't give it too much. So that's it. And you put it in the fridge. This will last for a few weeks. I hope all my tips helped. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I didn't make very much, my family says. My family says this is not a lot. They say that it'll be gone by tomorrow. So I'll probably be making this soon again. And maybe, you know, maybe when I make it soon again, hopefully it'll be in another episode and I can actually taste it in front of you guys and show you what I mean. But I think you've got the idea. Garlic, salt, everything is really to taste, but that's how you do it. Make sure you squeeze your cucumber really well. Make sure you strain your yogurt for 2 days. And that's it. That's all. Grate your cucumber and your garlic as fine as possible on your box graters. And that's all there is to it. I hope you guys enjoy it. Now you can always have homemade tzatziki at home. And I'm not coming over, so it doesn't matter if you have smelly garlic breath. Who cares? Or I'll just eat my tzatziki, and then when we meet up, we'll all have smelly garlic breath. It's okay. We always carry mints in our purse. Anyways, guys, so I did the tirokafteri for you guys, the hot cheese dip. I did the tzatziki for you guys. I hope you enjoyed both these recipes. And see you soon on the next episode. A blind kiss to you, if there was somebody there, and to you. Love you guys. Bye. I am your host, Zoe Fiogos. With sincere love and gratitude, I thank you for watching Zoe's Blind Kitchen Corner.